I love science.
I think science helps us solve the world's problems.
I do enjoy the science a lot because I see the impact.
Researcher is answering questions.
Que la vraie science, c'est quand tu es au laboratoire en train de faire des manipulations et que tu as des résultats.
I am an African woman. I love the environment.
My voice is important and deserves to be heard.
I am a researcher. What we are doing is very rewarding.
I have a passion for NTDs because it's all about research.
At least I'm doing something good and I'm helping humanity.
Whatever I do, I apply the science I know.
Think outside the box because you have a brain and you can use it.
I will give us a few statistics. When it comes to research in Africa, like globally, African scientists and researchers represent 2.4% of global researchers. That's a very low percentage, which means there is the need for more and more researchers in Africa, which means although we are having a lot of opportunities, there is the need for more of such opportunities to grow these numbers. And in this 2.4% globally that represent Africa, 31% of the African researchers are women. That is also very low. That's also very low. So as a female researcher, there is a need to inspire young women to go to research.
So I'm going to be realistic. First of all, it is not exactly easy to be an educated woman. That's the first thing. And it is not exactly easy to be a woman in science. So this part, and I mean, generally, it's not rocket science that the academia is predominantly men, and by extension, the field of science. And you can see that clearly from the numbers. I mean, in Nigeria, there are only about 13% of female professors in my country. Being a woman, ultimately, is hard.
It feels like you have climbed a mountain which everybody told you can't climb. I know I'm answering the question with a metaphor, but that's exactly how it feels like. You are doing something and you've been told you can't do it. When you get it done, you feel so good, and you feel fulfilled, and you feel like other people can see what you've done and want to do it. Okay, so you've created a path up a very steep, tall mountain, and now people are using that path to climb up the same mountain that everybody says you can't climb. That's exactly how I feel.
I'm proud to be an African woman, and especially a Ghanaian woman. We symbolize strength. You know, we can take a lot. An African woman can take it. What someone say, I can't take it. African woman can take it and smile. The way we are very resilient. We're going through a lot of difficulties, but smile and move along and try to find the solution to that. And for me, that is something that I'm very proud of as an African woman.
An African woman is an example, an inspiration, a motivation for young girls and even young people. In our own context, we usually say that one woman can build a village. One woman can also destroy an entire city. A good African woman is an actor, a crucial actor of development. She knows how to keep, she knows how to educate, she knows how to build and she knows how to protect. She's the guarantor of education, the guarantor of health, the guarantor of financial aspect of a family.
I come from a culture that is matrilineal. Woman is superior. My children belongs to me. Within the same Ghana, there are some women that they don't have that freedom. So sometimes it's difficult to generalize so let's say the African woman. But in my view, what is the challenge? I think the challenge is combining culture with career. Sometimes our culture sometimes limits us in certain things because in some jurisdiction, a woman doesn't have that power. And so if you are in leadership in the midst of men, then sometimes it can be limited because some men may not respect a woman as they ought. However, I think I'm fortunate this doesn't persist in my culture that much. And women in Ghana now, women are accepted. And the respect has grown over the years. A lot of women have come up to indicate that a woman can do what a man can also do. So slowly, the woman is gaining her respect and her place in society.
Être une femme africaine, elle est chercheuse, elle est directrice d'un centre, elle est belle-mère, elle assume tout ça sans se plaindre.
We in Africa, the cultural setting is male-dominated, and men have an advance in colonizing several domains. Sciences, for example, astronomy, neurosciences, politics, and all the like. So women coming into these different specialties are setting a precedent. And in my case, for example, I having a scholarship to go and study complex molecular biology set a precedent not just for women, but for the entire specialty itself.
We are all scientists. You go in there also as a scientist, meaning you have to be good. You even have to be better than the people sitting there because, you're a woman. So you strive always for the best. You're striving for excellence.
J'étais assise et puis mon téléphone sonne. On me dit, c'est Madame Tomba Agnès? J'ai dit oui, une voix européenne, là, française. Je vous appelle pour vous signifier que vous avez été sélectionnée parmi les 20 lauréates de l'année 2020. Vous avez obtenu le prix Jeune Talent de l'Afrique. J'ai crié. J'ai dit, what? Parce que je ne m'attendais pas, en fait. Je m'attendais pas. Donc, j'étais tellement surprise et j'étais contente. C'était vraiment un moment de fierté, un moment de grande fierté de dire que, bon, ok, c'était comme les Anglais. Parce que parfois, il y a des mots en français qu'on dit en anglais qui ont de l'impact. Creativement. Ça, c'était une grande réalisation de ton parcours en tant qu'étudiant.
So, WHO, since 1998, has been having a global Buruli ulcer initiative meeting to bring together researchers who are working in Buruli ulcer to try and come to a common place to discuss their progress that they've made in their research endeavors. And this meeting has been held almost annually since 1989. Now, this year, for the first time, WHO decided to integrate all neglected tropical skin diseases onto one big platform. So this includes yours, Buruli ulcer, mycetoma, and a couple of other skin diseases of medical importance within our sub-region. And I chaired the transmission session for this meeting.
J'ai été le premier directeur scientifique dans l'organisation du Centre Pasteur nommé en 2012 par le conseil d'administration. Donc je pense l'un des premiers défis était d'organiser la direction scientifique. Directeur scientifique, j'ai sous ma coordination différents départements dont j'ai déjà la coordination des activités de recherche. Et les activités de recherche dépendent uniquement des bailleurs externes dont nous avons le défi d'aller chercher les financements nécessaires pour mener cette activité de recherche. Et elle vient complètement en appui à ce que nous faisons pour la surveillance des maladies prioritaires, notamment celles à risque épidémique.
Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research is the leading biomedical research facility in Ghana. It is a unit of the College of Health Sciences of the University of Ghana. The University of Ghana is divided into 4 colleges, and within those, we have the College of Health Sciences, and one of the constituents is the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. It was established about 43 years ago. That's 1979, September 1979. And over the years, the institute have grown to become the leading research facility. And in terms of our mandate, we do 3 major things. We research into diseases of public health importance to Ghana and the global world. We are also involved in graduate training. We support Ghana Health Service, WHO, and Africa CDC in terms of their public health agenda. Noguchi hosts several regional and national reference laboratories, and one of them is Buruli also. We host also the tuberculosis, the polio eradication program. The regional lab is at Noguchi. We also host the regional influenza lab. We work on almost every disease as far as it is present in Ghana, communicable and non-communicable.
Parce que le Centre Pasteur abrite la plupart des laboratoires de référence, que ce soit de l'OMS ou que ce soit au niveau national pour le Cameroun. On a pu mettre en place de manière consensuelle une stratégie scientifique qui nous permet aujourd'hui de continuer à renforcer les capacités de la recherche. Notre mission, c'est répondre aux demandes du ministère de la Santé quand il y a un souci qui concerne la santé. J'ai assuré la responsabilité du service de mycobactériologie au Centre Pasteur pendant une quinzaine d'années. Avant d'être directeur scientifique. Donc, au niveau du service de mycobactériologie, les défis sont surtout de mieux accompagner le programme national, parce que le Centre Pasteur est le laboratoire national de référence pour la tuberculose, donc d'accompagner le pays dans la mise en œuvre de toutes les actions de lutte contre la tuberculose.
In 1985, I joined the university because I had to finish my school, the PhD, and joined was taken to the Faculty of Medicine in 1985. And there were, like you say, not many women at all. We were so few at that time. And at that time, the ranks here is you have an assistant, then you have a lecturer, a senior lecturer, associate professor, and professor. There was no woman at that time who was a professor. At that time, there were only men. If you counted or looked, there were only men, 1985. And so finally, you had some women who were already coming up to get to professorial level. But we were just very, very few, even at the level of the senior lecturers and senior lecturers. And with time, as I was in the Faculty of Medicine, even the students coming in, there were more men. But still in the Faculty of Medicine, after a while, you see women coming in, and there are some classes that had more women than men. So you can see how it evolved. I wasn't so women conscious as such until when I was given my award. I was given an award by the African Union, for women in science. So I was there at the African Union. They told us, when they gave us that award, we were told, you go back to your country and try and see how you can help younger women to come up.
Did I ever think I would ever be on a platform like that? The answer is yes, and I'll tell you why I said yes. In the first time I went for a WHO meeting, which was the Global Buruli Ulcer Initiative meeting, was in 2006. I went as a graduate student, and my PhD advisor took me to present some of the data that I had generated. And honestly, it was very overwhelming going for that meeting because you get to meet all these experts that you have been reading about. And I always said, wow, one day I want to be able to stand up and talk about my science. Like, you should wake me up from sleep and say, hey, Lydia, wake up. What is Buruli ulcer? And I should be able to tell you everything about it in a heartbeat. I find myself that's where I am right now. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity and for the director seeing that I could do this. And being a woman even and doing that, icing on the cake. It's icing on the cake. The other thing that made me really excited at this meeting is 3 of my former graduate students who trained under me here in the department were all there in different capacities, presenting their research. So you can imagine the pride that I felt there. It took me back to 2006 when I went as a student. And this time I wasn't presenting. Other people were presenting work that they had done in my group. And yeah, amazing.
I love science, and as a child, I was intrigued by new discoveries, new innovations in the scientific field. And also, Ghana is endemic for malaria, so it was sad to see children getting malaria and dying just because maybe there were no drugs or they were resistant to the drugs already in use.
La malaria, c'est un mot italien déjà, qu'on a transposé en anglais. Mais chez nous, on dit paludisme et les Anglais préfèrent rester avec malaria.
Malaria is a millennial problem, which means it's been around for 1,000 years at least, plaguing humanity and still remains a problem in 2023.
En Afrique, surtout subsaharienne, nous avons ce problème de paludisme qui demeure un problème de santé publique. Santé publique, pourquoi? Parce qu'il continue de faire des morts.
So it's important to know that malaria is an infectious disease that is transmitted by the bite of an infected female mosquito during blood meal intake that is needed for the maturation of its eggs. So during this bite, they inject a parasite into our blood, which develops in the human cycle and causes clinical symptoms like fever, headache, and what we all know, and ends up killing mostly children below 5 and pregnant women, which are the vulnerable population. So the control strategies have relied on insecticides. Well, we've targeted the parasites and the mosquitoes. My work was investigating the role or the molecular basis of insecticide resistance in the Anopheles funestris, which is one of the major malaria vectors in Africa. It's actually a secondary vector compared to Anopheles gambiae, which is widely studied already. So in my work, I was trying to elucidate by what mechanisms these mosquitoes acquire and spread this resistance in populations in the field, to understand how we came to a loss of efficacy of insecticides used in malaria control.
Moi, j'interviens dans la lutte antivectorielle. Comment on peut faire pour trouver nos propres moyens locaux pour combattre le vecteur? Parce que nous restons dans le contexte des pays africains qui sont en voie de développement, on n'a pas d'argent. Donc, il faut des moyens qui sont accessibles à notre économie. Donc, du coup, nous avons pensé aux plantes, mais ayant des limites avec les huiles essentielles, les extraits qui ne sont pas efficaces, on s'est dit, avec le professeur Yann et le professeur Lehmann, qui sont mes encadreurs, pourquoi ne pas utiliser des nouvelles technologies comme la nanotechnologie? On parle des nanoparticules, qui sont des petites particules. En fait, les nanoparticules qui sont des nanomatériaux, ce sont juste des petits transporteurs dont, en fait, on a besoin d'un élément tout petit qui permettent de prendre des éléments actifs de la plante et les amener vers la cellule qu'on veut atteindre. Et en plus, les nanotechnologies sont utilisées dans beaucoup d'autres domaines biomédicaux. On a montré les nanoparticules qui agissent dans la lutte contre le cancer, même les aliments et les textiles qu'on porte. Donc, vraiment, c'est une alternative qu'on propose et qu'on espère qu'elle peut être adoptée pour nous aider. Parce que nous aussi, en Afrique, on doit s'arrimer à la nouveauté, à l'innovation qui est l'utilisation des nanotechnologies.
I've been very involved at the international level a lot. WHO, the Gavi, Global Fund, and all that. And all those experiences really have helped me also meeting people. And in polio, WHO, I chair the African Regional Certification Commission for polio eradication. So I'm the one who declared Africa free of polio. And so I still chair that commission. I just want to say, in all these experiences also that I have, I try to bring it together, and when you're working on leadership, with hire, when I'm talking with the women about, what is out there.
Science is not just doing it in your small corner. I've come to realize that when you collaborate with a lot of other people from other fields, you're able to answer more questions and get more deeper understanding into the disease that you are researching in.
How do you team up to complement each other? If you know your strengths, then you know your weaknesses. So you find somebody good in your weaknesses to team up with, you're good to go. So this was really instrumental for me because I discovered that I had been putting a lot of effort to achieve things individually, which as a team, those efforts can be shared. And that is the community engagement aspect. So bringing back this to how I can serve my community is, how does acquiring leadership skill help a researcher to be better at what they do?
For me, leadership is not about lording it over anybody, because I know wisdom is not in anybody's head. Sometimes I always say that you may be 50, but one person will be chosen to lead. And then as a leader, you should also be a team member. So I have always been a team member, and my team will tell you, I always get involved in everything we do. I don't give instructions. I also invite suggestions from them. And so anytime we want to do something, we all come together. I tell them what my vision is, what I want done. And then for how we should do it, and if maybe what I want done, we should change it, we all decide and change it. So my leadership style is about team player, sort of.
I'm happy to indicate to you that since the establishment of Noguchi in 1979, I'm the first woman to be the director. All the directors have been men. So this brings a lot of responsibility. But I approach my responsibility as a woman, multitasking, taking one role at a time, and also trying to bring my mother's portion of me to interact with all staff, and making sure that I work hard, because a lot is expected of a woman, because the role has always been occupied by men. So now the woman, let us see what the woman can do. That I haven't forgotten, so I'm always working hard. But at the same time, I cannot do it all. I need the team. And so I relied on a lot of the team members, and I delegate a lot and trust and having faith in my team members that they can do it.
What I have learned over the years and what my mentors have encouraged me to do is to have a team in every aspect of your life, a team that will help you in every aspect of your life. So at work, as a career woman, you should have a team that you rely on, a team of young scientists or research assistants who you can delegate work to that you know will get it done. So they do a chunk of the early on drafting or whatnot for you, and then you move on from there. At home, you need an army, not just a team.
Comment est-ce que je concilie ma vie familiale et professionnelle? C'est ça. Pour connaître d'abord ma vie familiale, il faut reprendre que je suis mariée, mère de 3 enfants. Et je suis enseignante maintenant à l'université de Douala. Et la vie professionnelle, comme pour toute femme, il faut organiser son temps. Et comment manager son temps? Ça veut dire que en une journée qui a 24 heures, tu donnes combien de journées à la recherche? Combien de temps à la recherche? Tu donnes combien de temps à ta vie de famille? Tu donnes combien de temps à ta vie professionnelle?
I think there are many challenges in our society. Mostly to be a researcher, because this is the field I am in. I'm a lecturer, I'm a researcher. Because people still have inferiority complex about when you've gone to school. They feel that it's not the same level of understanding. So we have issues even as far as marriage is concerned, as far as the family is concerned, not only with our partners, but also with people around. You may have a partner who is very understanding, he has no issue, but his family will be like, okay, she's going on a conference. Why is she traveling every day? Who's taking care of the kids? Many people have not understood yet that a woman could be a researcher. People would bear with the fact that a man is a researcher. So he can even leave his house for 1 week. He says, okay, let me go for 1 week. I want to concentrate and finish with this article. But if you are married, if you have kids, you cannot just live for a week that I'm writing the article. Where are you going to? Even in our own families, it's an issue. If you don't really have a support system, if you don't have a partner who is understanding, if you don't have a family that is understanding, I think this is even one of the reasons why many females just drop out from the research life, from higher education.
Work requires quite a lot of traveling, meeting with several people, spending long hours at work. In all this, but I don't forget that I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a grandmother. One of the things that I have a diary that every day I log as I go on what I have to do. And I've done this so that I know this, I have to call my child, this time I have to, it's the market thing. So every day I have my personal diary, and my diary includes my career and also my domestic life. How do I bring the two? Because don't have to neglect. I'm a director at Buruli, but I'm also a mother and I have a home. I've created for myself just a few times how quality it is. So one of such times that mainly after work, we say, oh, my children come to me, they will sit on my bed and we can chat and laugh or even watch TV together.
Dogs.
Yes.
It's been a very long journey.
I can imagine. So who should ask the next question? You are the journalist there. So please, so you have to ask me a question.
So what is your style in mentorship in general? Because for me, I see you as someone who gives freedom to develop. You give everyone a chance, and I've seen it in students that I have taught that you have mentored, and they have now gone on to become research fellows. So how would you define your mentorship style?
I learned a lot when I went to Japan as a JICA trainee. At the Osaka University, I saw that the professors had a very intimate relationship with their students. They used to cook, sit together around a table to eat. And that for me sort of helped me in terms of my career development and also impacting on the next generation. Coming back, one thing that I normally do is to befriend my students. All my students are like my siblings. Some of them calls me mommy, some calls me auntie. Harley, as you know, you always call me Auntie Dorothy. You've never called me doctor or professor before. And so that brought a sort of relationship for people to grow and develop within their own space.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you are not strict, but you make them feel confident around you and help them to explore. I want to I wanted to create the environment that people are okay. Even my students challenge my views. And I have students like Isaac will challenge me what I say if he doesn't agree with me. And I think doing that, I've seen people grow and become master in their own area. And for me, that is something that I will encourage giving young ones. Sometimes within our culture, that kind of the big, the boss, sometimes too strict. We need to relax it a bit to allow people to grow within their own space and their own.
I have a few role models. I'd say the current director of Noguchi, Professor Dorothy Ewaminu, and my current supervisor, Dr. Anthony Aplodi, who are all doing great work in the field of bacteriology. So I met Dr. Prof. Ewaminu in school once during this Women in Science program, and I thought to myself, wow, it would be nice to do something like she's doing. She was fun, she was smart, and she looked like she knew her stuff. So I was like, okay, let me just look up to this woman. I would want to do something similar to what she's doing. So she actually played a great role in influencing my decision to, first of all, come work with Noguchi during my service year.
I think my role model has been the director of Noguchi, which is Prof. Dorothy Ewaminu, because she was my supervisor and during my undergraduate project work. I look up to them a lot because of how far they've gone, and I think I can do better and also, something similar.
Mentors are extremely essential in anyone's life, not just as a scientist, in anyone's life. I have been extremely fortunate to have, in my opinion, some of the best mentors. Okay, and you can have mentors at any age group, at any career stage, from any sphere of life. My PhD advisor, Pamela Small, remarkable woman. She came into my life at a point in time where I had never had a female mentor, apart from my mom. And she was completely different in her way of thinking. Different in a very good way, okay? She gave me a certain amount of freedom to think and move my PhD in the direction that I wanted to do. And I'd never been given that kind of freedom. In Africa, most of the time, you're always told what to do. You are not told to think outside the box. Pamela comes and says, let's change this scenario. Think outside the box because you have a brain and you can use it, right? It was very foreign to me, but it gave me the latitude to explore even further and learn to work independently, okay? Because the majority of my training had not really been independent work. It had been work which you are directed to do all the time. You do this, go and do this. But she gave me the opportunity to think outside the box. Now, apart from being my PhD advisor, barely 2 years, like a year and a half after I had joined her lab in Tennessee, I lost my own mother. She passed away. And Pamela stepped into my life and fulfilled the role of a mother for me completely. So her mentorship in my life was not just on my career, but in my personal life as well. And I don't think a lot of people benefit like this from their mentors, but I did. Okay, and I think it's simply because of how much belief she saw in my capabilities as a scientist, as a female scientist. And she encouraged me to move back home to start my work. And I think I've adopted a little bit of all my mentor styles in my approach. People who come into my research group have the opportunity to do independent research. So I encourage them to think outside the box the same way I was encouraged. That's my view on mentorship. At some point in time, it should be a whole army of people who you have touched their lives and they have touched other lives, and it just keeps, spiraling into a huge movement. And that's how we change the world, if you ask me. Like Michael Jackson.
Leishmaniasis has been detected in Nigeria since the early 1940s. Since then, and there are communities up to today, this moment as we speak, that are affected by this disease. But it's sad that there is no control program whatsoever against leishmaniasis. You know, that was one other reason why I chose to go into this, because this is a huge gap that needs to be filled. Maybe we could start something. African trypanosomiasis is a disease that is transmitted through the bites of Glossina species. That's a vector. It's called the tsetse fly. The same thing with leishmania. It is transmitted through the bites of an infected sandflies. And basically, trypanosomiasis causes, if not treated, it causes death. Yeah, because the patient usually displays lots of symptoms like, just to mention a few, fever, anemia, which is the cardinal indicator of the disease. This is one of the reasons why they are called neglected tropical diseases, because the funding is poor, yeah, for NTDs. When I look at these people, when I go to do my research, I go to villages. I have contacts with these people who are suffering. They are the poorest of the poor, and they make the largest chunk of our population. And so, for me, this is where my passion lies. I want to be able to see how what I can do in my small capacity, yeah, to see how I can alleviate some of their suffering in my little way. So if we have more people thinking that way and doing the research, getting funding, I think we would make some progress.
We know that there are, women are not in science, and we're trying to encourage them. So that's what made me, when I came here and I started thinking, what can I do to help the younger women? There were some coming in and, then they get pregnant and then they go, and you just didn't see the women there. So that's when I decided with others, Professor Penlap and Sylvino, and that we should do something. So wrote for that grant. So that's how in 2015 we used that grant to set up Hire Women. Yeah. We want to say that the other mentors are welcoming you as our new mentors. We have become grandmother mentors. And you are the mentors that will have to really help our young scientists to pull them up. As you are moving up, you're pulling them with you. They don't stay behind. So congratulations, and now we declare you all
I had to choose at some point to fully dedicate my life to education. I actually had to give my body, my spirit, and my soul to the research work. My supervisor in the University of Yaoundé is Professor Jude Bigoga, and he is a student, or I can say a mentee of Professor Rose Leke, so it's like a family tree. Professor Rose Leke is an emeritus professor from the University of Yaoundé, who has made a great name for herself in research on placental malaria, and a lot of clinical research. She has a really broad expertise and a really, really big name in research across Africa. And I think she set the precedent for what women could achieve if they set their mind to it and if they had the right supervision and mentorship. And she's been a role model to a lot of women who want to contribute or to be part of the academia and also part of the research around malaria. I knew her through my supervisor, like I said, because he's like a son to her, and then I'm a granddaughter, and I joined the Higher Women Consortium.
Yes, I think we all deserve a round of applause.
I'm a member of a consortium, which is the Higher Women Consortium, which is a group of women researchers led by Professor Rose Leke, who got a prize from Kwame Nkrumah Prize for leading female researchers in Africa. She thought about this group or association where she'll be able to lead, to bring on board and to bring female researchers in the health domain in order to get leadership positions. And to get leadership positions, we'll not get because we are women. We have to get to leadership positions because we are worth it. We have the skills, we have the competencies. And this is why the program is there. The flagship program is the mentorship program, where you have seasoned researchers, or at least more experienced researchers, who are given a number of mentees to lead. And it is holistic mentoring. So it's not only about what they do for their career, but it is also about how they live their life, because your personal life has an impact on your professional life. And the thing is, the figures are there. I think they are the same all over the developing world. You have many females, primary school, secondary school, undergraduates, but then when you start with postgraduate, master's, PhD, they just kind of disappear. Why would they disappear? Some of them get married, some of them get jobs for their families. So the higher women is to try to keep the most female researchers in the field of research, which is also kind of very, very demanding.
Consortium, we have like annual meetings where everybody gathers and we talk, we share experiences, we do presentations, we share milestones and accomplishments, and we celebrate each other. It's important to celebrate each other because little victories for individual victories are great victories when you put them all together and see that as a collectivity we are moving forward. And it's really important to know that the key word is rising. It doesn't mention how fast, it doesn't mention the speed, it's just a consistent growth.
And how did I come in contact with the group? It was in 2015, the year the group was created. I was at a meeting of research and innovation managers and researchers. And then I met one of the founders of the group, and then we had a little chat. I had to present a paper on intellectual property. She said, okay, but it has a link with health. So this is how I came in as a mentor. And since then, I've been mentoring about 8. And what is really peculiar, you see, I'm from law. I'm the only one in the group from law. And then I was mentoring the people from agriculture. I have Dr. Stephanie Mvolo, who is one of my mentees.
Higher Women is my family. Higher Women is my pride. So it is like an elder sister holding the hands of a younger one in science. My experience is a good experience. I was selected as a mentee. My mentor is called Dr. Pierrette Isama. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Through Higher Women, I have made so many elder sisters in so many institutions who have proved to be very helpful in any situation. I can call them anytime. In terms of research, in terms of motherhood, in terms of wife issues, and they are always willing to assist. When we give birth, we sing. When somebody lost a father or mother, we cry with the person. We are really a family, and we are always proud to call anyone at any time, and the person is going to respond. If I pick my phone and call anyone, like I call Agnes, I call Pierrette, I call Amélie, no matter how busy they are, no matter what they have to do, they know it's a commitment, and they are always happy to be there and to contribute.
Higher women, still we rise. Higher women, we say we love you. Higher women, still we rise. 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 Higher women, still we rise.
And this is what is good with mentorship. That is, mentorship is not like supervision of academic work, so you don't need to be an expert in the field. Mentorship is not like coaching, because it's not just for an objective. It is like reminding somebody that person is answerable to you, accountable to you, that did you do so? Do you have goals? This is how you can set your goals. This is what you can do to navigate within the higher education system. And I'm very happy to be in that program, because it opened eyes, and then it even gave me an idea to create something similar for social sciences, because Higher Women is really dedicated to researchers in the health domain. So I created something with some of my colleagues, most of them from University of Yaoundé too, only women, social sciences women network, where we would kind of support each other in order to maintain a career at a certain level, to acquire many skills and competencies, go to conferences, apply, because most don't have that habit of applying for conferences, for journals, and also that spirit of kind of growing, taking more trainings, because we're never trained enough, seizing opportunities, not being shy in our professional life.
I remember my late professor telling me, you have to think outside the box to do good science. And he didn't just say think outside the box, but he actually mentored me, and he gave me the opportunity, for me to think outside the box. I was raised to be hardworking. I was raised to be independent. I have to work hard to get what I want to get, or what I think I deserve to get. And maybe if I had not put in some effort of thinking outside the box, maybe that dream would have just gone down the drain. But somehow, with the connecting this back with my background, my family, my support, and then mentorship, and that all these things put together have helped me to, really think outside the box.
During my service time, I saw this big wound in pictures, and I was curious to find out what they are. I was like, hey, why this big wound? So I tried to read more about it, and I found that is Buruli ulcer, and that was my first time of hearing Buruli ulcer. So I decided to learn more about Buruli ulcer. And then at that time, the scientist who was leading that study was Prof. Dorothy Yeboamenu. My department is focused or aims to improve the quality of life of Ghanaians and the world as a whole. And we do this by doing research.
I was in the college, so I was working in Buruli ulcer program. And then, so when I got a PhD, it just happened to coincide with what I had already been doing with the Buruli ulcer. So, and that one was being sponsored by GTZ. And at that time, Dorothy, Prof. Yabua Menu, she had also done her PhD in Buruli ulcer. So she had asked some questions. And actually, I was also asking the same question. One of the questions I was asking, why the Buruli ulcer lesions were not healing.
So Buruli ulcer is a skin infection. It is classified by the WHO as a neglected tropical skin disease. And what it does is it causes wounds or sores on the surface of the skin. Okay, and these sores can sometimes grow very large on the surface of the skin. And most of the time you find the wounds in the extremities, either on the legs or on the arms, and very rarely do you find it on the torso. And it's caused by a bacteria. The bacterium is called Mycobacterium ulcerans, okay? And it belongs to the same family of bacteria that cause tuberculosis and leprosy. The other thing which is peculiar about Buruli ulcer is it's a very rural disease. And in the rural settings, you have very poor access to healthcare facilities. You also have a lot of cultural beliefs which directly lead to stigma of the infection, because one, you have a sore which is not painful. The first thing that people say is, oh, it's possibly witchcraft or something like that. Where would you find Buruli ulcer in the world if you looked for it? You'd find a lot of it in West Africa. Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and even in Liberia recently. Australia is also very endemic for Buruli ulcer. My research started with transmission. Since then, I've gone to establish my research group, which still focuses on transmission, but we are also looking at early diagnosis, because that's another issue that affects Buruli ulcer. So it's quite a big spread of things, but it's all in the general idea to understanding how best to control and prevent the spread of Buruli ulcer.
There are so many challenges in terms of health. The solution proposed are somehow limited. The health system is very weak. The health system is very weak. The hospital lack equipment and infrastructures. The water quality is not good. Feeding is not good. So people are almost sick. Also, there's no sensitization enough about what to do and what not to do. Many will be drinking water, not really knowing the quality of the water. People will be interacting in a river or any other natural resources without knowing that it can cause them to be sick. My project is about facilitating exchanges between two communities. My project is to make sure that this semi-rural community can benefit from education. My objective is for this rural community to know that they are models. Through education, you can have better living conditions, and with better living conditions, you can have good health and long life.
You detect problems and then you investigate them. You provide scientific evidence of how they could be solved. But then who has to solve them? So that links scientific findings or research and decision making or policy making. The policy makers in the country are the ones who take the decisions, but do they take informed decisions? That was the question mark. So that is how I found that bridging the gap between sciences and policy making was a gap that needed to be bridged in Cameroon, and we needed to, as researchers, we were responsible to communicate our scientific findings to government officials or policymakers to ensure that they are adequately informed and that when they are making decisions, these decisions are based on scientific evidence. So research is really working hand in hand, not only with the pharmaceutical companies and the governments, to tailor these efforts to each context to see how you can directly use your knowledge acquired to contribute to community change, to contribute to improving community life. And this has given me a new purpose to contribute to improving the quality of life in Africa. Living standards, improving health systems, and engaging the communities to change their own lifestyle positively, which is what would make any change sustainable.
As a child, my father always said to me to work hard and believe in God. So those my parents always just work hard. You're going to school, work hard. You're doing something, work hard. And when you're doing it, do it, strive for excellence. You have to do it well. Anything you do well. If you're a scientist, you do it well. So it's a motto to do everything well. Work hard, do it well, and trust in God. That's us.
I grew up in a small village in Ghana. Now it's a town. And my parents were very old, actually very old. I'm the last baby of my parents. And I think they gave birth to me, this is by chance. I think so. My father was retired, a very old man in the village, and my mother was old. And they gave birth to me. And so growing up was very interesting. I was very much doted. They really loved me because they gave birth to me in their old age. I have senior siblings, though the age gap was wide, but they really loved me.
J'ai eu une enfance normale, avec des parents qui vous aiment, qui vous donnent une éducation avec des valeurs et des principes, qui vous montrent que l'école, c'est quelque chose qu'il faut faire si tu veux aller loin. Et cette enfance a été vraiment très bien parsemée par les conseils, par la vie en famille, les quelques vacances au village. Et c'était vraiment bien. On a eu le temps de comprendre que l'amour, c'est quelque chose d'important en famille.
I started out in a very modest family, and my parents have 8 children. I'm the third, so I have 5 people behind that follow me, 2 boys and 6 girls. So growing up in a family like that, things were very difficult. Modest is to say it was really difficult financial situation, and I had to rely on scholarships to continue my education, right from primary school, which means I've always been very competitive in academic excellence, and I've had to be in the top 5% of my class all the time to have that scholarship or to have some financial support to pursue my education. After the secondary school, my father was already very sick, and my family was going through more challenges than what we already had. I dropped out of school actually for a month. And my teachers had to come to my house looking for me, and because my classmate had dropped off with me to go get odd jobs to contribute and pay for my exam. And that was one of the most touching moments for me growing up, knowing that people really mean it when they say, let's go together. And then I registered in biochemistry because I really, really wanted to understand how I can contribute to community challenges, to contribute to my community. It's a journey to discover yourself when you are an African student or we don't have, what I want to say is we don't have like a choice of where you want to go from when you're a child.
I went to Kumasi, to the University, Kwame Nkrumah. Then it was called the University of Science and Technology, where I studied biochemistry. I did the biochemistry for 4 years, and in humility, I came on top. I got the first class in my class. I was the only person. And after that, I came to Noguchi to work as a research assistant. It was very interesting at the university. Was I an interesting student? I would not call myself as a very interesting student. I was more a bookworm student. But I had a few times where I enjoyed myself a little, because then I met my husband. I don't know whether that is interesting for this area. Yeah, so the university was interesting for me, but it was more, I had very good friends at the university who are still friends with me.
Ok, ce que j'aimerais réaliser dans mon futur professionnellement, c'est un grand rêve. Professionnellement, j'aimerais avoir un laboratoire, mon propre laboratoire, comme celui-ci avec des équipements. Et alors là, je recrute des étudiants démunis qui peuvent pas avoir des financements, qui n'ont pas été encadrés, qui n'ont pas eu la chance d'être sélectionnés, qui viendront acquérir des connaissances et pouvoir postuler à des grants ailleurs.
So I think my dream is just, coming on to get women in research, more women in research, and that is happening. But to get also more children in STEM, in science and technology, and that's what we're doing.
So thinking outside the box also requires funding. So if you have some good funding, you will think you have no choice than to think outside the box. So funding is key, to leading a successful research life as a scientist, and more so, or most importantly, as a female scientist.
Sometimes I almost gave up. Sometimes I gave up, and there were people who brought me back. Some of the stories are really, really, really inspiring. And I usually want to see that my story, there are many people in Africa, in Cameroon, that can identify to my story, because it's the story of a lot of women. It's a story of many young girls who grew up from very difficult families, backgrounds, where they don't have any opportunities, and they are not even allowed to dream big because there's nobody to pay for your dream, to fund that dream. And I share my choices, I share my experience and my journey, and hope that it inspires someone in their own life choices and guides them in going in the direction where they hope to go and to reach their dreams.
I want to be in a position to better conduct more research into diseases of public health importance, because that is what I really want to do, to help bring relief to humanity, because we are just struggling with these bacteria and all that.
If you're a dancer because you love dancing. So at the end of the day, after a dancing gig, the euphoria you feel doesn't even connect with how much you're earning. You're feeling euphoria because you did exactly what you like doing, and you probably did it very well. Same thing for me. I would tell a student who wants to be a scientist that do it because you're passionate about it. and you want to make an impact, or you want to solve a problem and get a solution, just do it because you're passionate about it, and you will feel fulfilled. It's the fulfillment, the joy that you get at the end of the day that really matters.
What do I want to achieve personally? For now, I think in terms of career, one would say maybe at a bit of, in terms of research career, for me now, I've been able to attain the directorship in terms of Ghana. It's a prestigious institution. One of the things that I wanted to do is to build capacity to help others to grow.
I see myself back here in Ghana solving problems, medical problems, especially in the fight against antimicrobial resistance. Yes, so spearheading tasks, training other young girls like me or other science-driven people like me to also know how to fight against antimicrobial resistance. And then, making Ghana a better place for all of us.
We should just empower women to be more assertive about what they want. They shouldn't be just living their life, going with the flows, and no, they should choose their lives. And most important is that they can balance professional and private life.
If women are heard, if they are understood, their contributions are going to be tremendous.
I'm an African woman.
I'm an African woman.
I am an African woman.
Je suis une femme africaine.
I am an African woman.
I am a researcher.
I am a researcher.
I'm a researcher.
We are researchers.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am very proud. My voice is important and deserves to be heard.
Ma voix est importante et mérite d'être entendue.
My voice is important and deserves to be heard.
My voice is important and deserves to be heard.